Alright, getting started. Difficulties. Not my normal prepared self, if I'm ever prepared. Everyone forgives me on a Sunday, right? Good enough for me. I will take the silence as an answer. And we'll get started. Don't mind this. Alright. So, a couple of missions to go through today. We're still focusing on satellite missions. Getting our funds back up and getting science so we can get ready for a lunar mission. We're doing quite good. We've got about 1.25 million funds. Most of our contracts right now are based on lunar science, as we're getting ready to do the large lunar mission. But today, we're going to do some prep work, some science groundwork. We have a Colnea orbit that we're going to have to do today. And we'll probably do this solar satellite. However, there's going to be a little more to this. I think I originally intended that we'd do this Colnea orbit first. Timelines and delta V calculators. Well, I think I'm going to have to start with some science missions since they're going to take a very long time. I'd rather those go in the background while we do other things. So let's see. I think I'm going to end up starting a new launcher altogether. But I want to base it off an existing satellite, like the Farsat 2, which I guess we'd call not Gen 3, but I want to work on this being more of a probe on the Luna and Duna missions. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the Sun mission pretty much achieved with what I consider to be a probe, and that's going to be our test flight, as it were. Don't need KSP. So let's see. So we just need a mystery goo unit, and to achieve orbit, the desired orbit for the solar. So I want to take this frame, and I want to add a mystery goo just to the top. Go dead center. And we'll use this as our base. And from there, we of course want a fairing. To protect the craft. Let's make it a 4-sided fairing. Provide aerodynamic protection for the craft. So that all is good. Now, we need an entirely new launch vehicle to take us out to solar space, so interplanetary space. there's a couple ways I could go about this. That is not the one I want. That's not the one I want at all. Go away. This one can do. So we don't want to necessarily jump to the Rockamax 200 series yet. I'm going to stick on the mid-range here. Throw a pair of those on. What I want to do is I want to get a AJ10 on this. The AJ10 being very vacuum efficient. It is an engine ISP of 412 in vacuum compared to our previous best of 345 in vacuum for the Terrier. So definitely much better. Even the Poodle that we have available to us is 350. So nowhere near very efficient in vacuum. It is not efficient at all in atmosphere. So we're gonna go with that. And what I want to see is how this handles coupling. Oh, it does go to that. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. It does actually bring up the shroud. I didn't expect it to bring up a 1.5 meter shroud in that setting, but it does. So that is actually perfect. So we're going to work out some finer details when we get to these other satellites. Now the question I have for myself is, do I want to do conventional step up to a 2 meter diameter, whatever this is, a 2 series diameter, or do I want to do Soyuz style and have boosters like these around a thinner core? Solid rockets are probably the cheap option. So I'm gonna go for that. I'm gonna just step this up to the 2 meter option. Throw a skipper on. So that's a high thrust engine. 650 thrust compared to the 215 even from a swivel, or 240 from a Reliant. So a lot of thrust out of the gate. Go with checking my aerodynamic center as well as my center of mass. Aerodynamic center pressure is apparently really low. What that's all about. Huh. Strange. Put a couple boosters on. Separatrons. Yeah, words. Separatrons. There we go. Couple big boosters. some drogue chutes to pull them away. Right. Now. We want 4 more boosters. We want this to be a very powerful rocket, to be sure. So, an extra 4. Very good. With nose cones. Yes, this is looking very good. This has a lot of potential for a solar satellite. I think what I might do is an extra 4 antenna. Just give us extra good range. I don't know how much this is really going to need, mind you. Because this is going to be our test platform. This is going to be our interplanetary test platform. So, I think this will be enough to get us very comfortably into interplanetary space. Don't mind the stuttering. There's a little extra distance here. Oh, those look good. We'll stick with that. Maybe? No. No. There we are. Alright. Rid of this junk. Put some parachutes. Right here to rip those boosters away. And we'll put some ground support towers. Let's see. A pair of them. Right at center of mass. Perfect. So, we're going to fire 4 main solid rocket boosters, plus the main engine on the first stage. Get us lots of thrust, get us way up there. Second stage is going to be to activate the other 2 solid rocket boosters, and to split away the 4 existing boosters. So once those expel all their fuel, we're going to switch over to the 2. We're going to also let go of the parachutes, so it pulls those away. Launch towers need to be at launch. Then we're going to have the 2 boosters separate. That looks good. And those go with the parachutes at the same time. Perfect. Then we go there, and then we go that engine, the AJ-10, for space efficiency. We lose the fairing. We switch over to the satellite payload power, and we are good. So this will be SunSat 1. And this is the blueprint we're going to use, if this works, for the Duna and Eve missions for probes. We'll have to build a slightly different body for the probe. I have something else in mind, but the rocket itself should be perfect for this mission. Alright, we thoroughly checked our staging. Now, with the Duna and the Eve missions, I'm going to check our position in terms of the spin of the planet. Make sure we're facing a good spot for us to achieve what we want to achieve. But I don't know what the solar orbit. So for this, I'm just gonna let us go for it. Wow. Wow. Okay. Even with that big engine and 4 solid rocket boosters, this is a lot of weight for it to carry. Now, keep in mind, we're going straight up. We're just going straight up with this. Normally we do a gravity turn, we do a lot of fancy maneuvers. But this, we want to escape velocity. We want to just go just a little bit of a turn, just to make sure the boosters don't ditch over the Kerbal Space Center. Shit. Alright. There was a minor impact incident with the boosters. That's a lesson learned from this design, of course. But we're still accelerating. We're going to keep going with it. We're still getting altitude. We're just going to ride this out. We're going to see what happens. So, good lesson learned. Probably would not have been an issue if I kept us going straight. But because we were not directly aiming at our velocity vector, that would explain why we had the impact. So, not ideal. But the stage should carry us all the way to space. We don't necessarily care about orbit. Again, we're on exit trajectory out of Kerbal Sphere of Influence, so we can get to a solar satellite. Very steady launch overall so far, aside from that booster mishap. Our apogee is now in space, completely outside the atmosphere. So that's where our AJ-10 engine's going to shine. That's what we want. We want to loft that AJ-10 engine into a position where it's able to do its really maximum impact. So just trigger the launching the boosters that are no longer there, just so we get through that stage. I'll have to figure out a way to not do that to those boosters on actual launch. AG-10, we're already in space, so this is where it's going to shine. Maximum efficiency. This has some of the best fuel efficiency of any of the engines. We'll drop the shroud now that we're in space as well. Deploy a couple of the antennas. Let's make sure that we stay in comms range. Now that we no longer have to worry about the atmosphere, there's no sense in waiting to deploy these. Just a mind-numbing number of relay antennas. Wow, we've long been on exit trajectory. I way overburned that. But that's fine. We're heading directly retrograde. "4 days from now, we'll make an escape. Whoa. This Rokia satellite path is freaky looking. Wow. Okay, yeah, that one's going to be a challenge. But sunset is on its way out. Still got a lot of fuel left in it. Whoa. Yeah, whoa is right. This is a beefy rocket. I've not done beefy rockets like this as of yet. So this is the test platform for the... Oh, I meant the orbit. Okay, yeah, that's gonna be a pain. I thought we were talking about the rocket. But yes, that's gonna be a pain for an orbit. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. But yeah, this is gonna be the test vehicle now for, really for Duna and Eve exploration probes. It's going to be our solar sat. This is 4 days away from its point, so I'm just going to focus on other things at the moment while I go back and figure that out. And mainly that crazy orbit, because I don't know how on Earth, or how off the Earth, we do this orbit. That's freaky looking. Oh, now it... Okay. It's just getting glitchy. Now, it is directly over Woomerang. So it looks like we're going to have to launch from Woomerang and go from there. Yeah, I agree. That is a weird orbit. I knew it was going to be highly eccentric and at a high inclination, but I just didn't expect this exactly. So, yeah, this is going to be a Woomerang launch. So we'll go back to Space Center while the solar sat goes and does its thing. I wanted to do a Duna or a Eve mission today, and I realized that that's going to be like a 165 Kerbal Day kind of deal. So, gonna be something for us to start today and then finish at a later time.
Oh.
So that's unfortunate. Let's see. Let's do that Konya orbit. I think if we use not this absurd launcher, as nice as it is. But I think we use an updated Sat-4 launcher. Tilted at the right angle. We should be able to do this from Woomerang. I just need to see what they want on the craft. It needs to have a mystery goo and a materials bay. That hurts my soul a little bit. Alright, we're gonna pull that away. Science Bay. Mystery goo, rather. Whoop, nope. Here we go. dead center. Alright. And it rotated our base again. That's bizarre. Alright. Boomerang launch. Hopefully we can pull this one off. I'm not totally confident. So we want this at what? The 225 angle? Oh, so I angled this exactly 90 degrees away from the way I wanted it. Alright, that's fine. We will make it work. We've got main engine, towers, boosters, and gimbals all firing at the same time. We've got separation when we want it. We've got the engine here. Is supposed to be timed thusly. Perfect. Then the fairing can drop, then that, then that. Okay. Beautiful. So I'm just going to need to remember to stay along this line. Screw it, let's rotate it. Why not? That apparently works amazing. Boosters are dead. Stitch those. Start pitching over. Utilize those gimbaling engines. Perfect. This might be the most advantageous moment of boomerang launching. We need to go a little more this way, I think. Nope. A little more this way. A little more polar. Yeah, our apogee's too high. Wow, our apogee's way too high. Okay. Shoot. Miscalculated that one. This is a very strange orb. Drop the fairing. At least deploy one of these antennas. Yeah, our inclination is gonna screw us. Yeah, this is a very weird order. What do I want to do about this? Yeah, that's ideal. I want to at least line up the apogee. And then we can fix the perigee when we come around. Oh, it's like an inclination still. Combine maneuvers as much as we can. Shit. Do that at the ascending node. Oh, Lord. Okay, so... once again, apogee. We're... forget it. Kill that node. Much closer to where we are now. Bingo. We're just gonna do that node now. It's a lot of delta V. But from the last time we calculated this, we should have 1500 delta V, so it should be just a little over half. Again, I'm going to kill throttle completely, stage into this engine just so I know I can control it. Oh, fast forwarding more than I intended. We'll wait for 15 seconds until the start of this 30-second burn, so we balance 15 seconds before and after the target node. This should get us close to the desired orbit. We'll have to do a little bit of retrograde maneuvering and a little bit of change, which should mostly achieve what we want. Okay. Small correction burn. Perfect. So now at our ascending node, right here, let me miss, thank you. Our ascending node, we want to bring our orbit as our target orbit. This should be the most fuel efficient place to do this burn. Relatively close target. And then we'll need to do some correction at apogee after that point. So we'll need to bring down our perigee. That'll put us much more in line with this orbit. We'll have to then correct our apogee after the fact. But that should be small burns. So this actually looks pretty good. As odd as that looked, and as difficult as I assume that would be, this might actually just go as intended. We've got just a 3-second burn. I'm going to just limit our fuel and our thrust limiter to give us a 4-second burn instead. We've got 30 minutes until we reach that point. So we are going to fast forward. 30 minutes is not a long enough span for us to worry about multi-missioning. We're already multi-missioning at this point. Between this and the solar sat. But once we have this one in the orbit, I'll see what we have for contracts. I might do a rescue mission real quick. And then, depending on how I feel that Sunset launcher went, I might just go ahead and launch with probes. I will have to design that probe, though. So we've got 4-second burn. So we'll want to wait till 2 seconds before the start of the node. So we're burning 2 seconds before and 2 seconds after, and centralizing our impact to our orbit. There we go. That was a good burn. That was very accurate. Small correction puts us pretty much dead on target. We will cancel that node from there. So now at Apogee we'll have another maneuver, which is in 58 minutes. This one a much smaller change, a 1-second burn. I'm gonna thrust limit us down to 40%. See if we can't get a 4-second burn down to 33%. There we go. So realistically, I want a nice even number that I can comfortably balance across that node. So a 4-second burn is ideal. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to fast forward until that maneuver. Tonight is all business. We're all in the mode of science. We want to get our science missions going. Start getting some exciting moon missions. And beyond. The moon and Minmus, though, I think are both opportunities. Oops. Trigger happy. I think are both opportunities for us to get maximum science, which is a single mission. So I'm going to try and focus on the planets that are further out, that are even more of a challenge. Sending probes out to those. Getting the most science per launch as possible as we prepare for those missions to the moon and to Minmus. So 4-second burn. Oh, I missed my window. Not good. We'll have to do another correction burn here. It's not the end of the world with long maneuvers like this. You can usually correct them quite easily. But it is slightly less convenient. But a perigee is pretty much dead on. Yeah. It still recognizes us as not having the designated orbit. So what we'll need to do is increase the apogee at perigee. So right here. That looks pretty dead on. got 1 hour, 26 minutes till that burn. I don't have enough else going on to concern myself, I think, with not going ahead and time warping this. So we'll time warp it all the way to the maneuver. Yeah, this is a very small maneuver to actually get us where we want to be. It is calling us a 1 second burn. I'm just going to turn the thrust limiter way down. Try to get a 4 second burn. There we go. 4 seconds is where I like my burn to be. It's a even number. It's easy to center our burn on it. It's quick, so it's efficient. It's a good way to go all the way around. We're getting very close to the planet Kerbin for our next burn. Again, a very eccentric orbit, which we're changing very much our altitude to a very high altitude throughout the course of it. Very elliptical. And this one should be a nice easy win, assuming this burn goes well. Because I didn't realize how long it was going to take the sunset to get out of Kerbin's influence. I was really feel a little better about launching our Duna and Eve satellites and probes. But that might be a tomorrow night thing, unfortunately. Once again, coming up on our maneuver node. 4 seconds, so we'll start it at 2 seconds to node. Very minor adjustment right here. Kill a node. Now it's still saying I haven't reached the designated orbit. Could be this perigee being off as much as it is. Oh, that's agonizing. Yeah, because the apogee looks pretty close. We can probably adjust the maneuver here ever so slightly. Alright, let's get ready for that node. We're going to, again, time warp. Another 4-second burn. This is a very picky orbit. I think definitely launching from Woomerang, though, made this doable. I think if we had launched this from KSC, we would have never completed this. Definitely a Boomerang type mission. Alright, just a little bit of fast forward here. A little bit of time warp to the 2-second marker. Not bad. Perfect. Now what does the contract say? Doesn't like the para apps. I figured that was going to be the problem. Perigee is the issue. Just reduce that down just a little bit and bring it more in tolerance with the designated orbit. It's not by very much. But that should do nicely. It's only a 2-second burn, even with our thrust limiting all the way down, more or less. Only a 10 meters per second change in our orbit. Very minor. Very, very minor. Okay. Wait till 1 second to burn. Fairly accurate burn for a 2-second burn. Killer node. No. Please cancel the node. Thank you. Now what does the contract say? It's claiming we're not in the correct orbit. Ah, that looks very much the correct orbit to me. 103.5 versus 104. 3048 versus 3060. This is really dead on. Oh, Christ almighty. It's another retrograde orbit. We're flipped 180 degrees. Angelarius, yes, we are indeed backwards. Indeed. So, I really wish the contract made that clearer. We should be in a retrograde orbit, not in a prograde orbit. So that's going to hurt us quite a bit. And I think we lost our good window to launch from Boomerang. We did indeed. Mildly embarrassing. So what we're going to do... salvage my sanity somewhat. I'm going to raise the orbit of this satellite and use it as a relay. And we're gonna launch a new one. Because I am not gonna be able to make a 180-degree inclination change. That is for sure. Alright, so that is going to be a ComSat. And we'll go back and try a new one. Slightly embarrassing. So, let's see. Same thing. Very much the same thing. Again, we're going to launch from Boomerang. And this time we launch the other way. So we want to follow right down this line should do. Right out the solids. Those burn up and do their thing. gimbaled engine so we can actually do this maneuver the way we want to. Because this is fighting us. There we go. Okay. That's gone. Okay. So our staging was different for this, apparently. Why our staging is different from 10 minutes ago, I do not know. She's a Terrier Spark. Yes, I actually don't have a Spark unlocked as of yet. So that would be my big thing. As of now, my Terrier is going to be the best option aside from the AJ-10. So a little larger than the scope for this guy, unfortunately. Now, I did just totally screw the pooch on this guy. Wow, like badly. Thanks to that little tumble there. Yeah, see, I'm just totally going the wrong way. Why I'm still firing this rocket, I do not know. This is going to be another ComSat at this point. Because I can't get simple math done correctly here. Nope, don't want to target, thank you. Taking off towards approximately 230. Yes, probably. I'm gonna assume that I just made a very terrible error. But at this point, I'm just gonna let this be our next ComSat. Because apparently I'm just dysfunctional today. I actually disabled reverting for this. I would normally, but thought it'd be a nice challenge for live stream. I tried to make as many realism tweaks as I could. So if I make a goofer, then I'm just gonna have to live with it, unfortunately. Yes, autosaves I've never used. Reverting I do use, but yeah, I thought it'd be a good challenge just to get rid of it altogether for career mode. And I'm getting this thing into orbit when I don't even really want to. Because I really don't want this booster in orbit. I really designed this thing to give me a very high apogee before separating and relying on the bus itself to get me into orbit. This was just a horrible launch. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I do some bad launches, but this is fairly up there. De-orbit this, actually, of all things. Nope. This away. Burned. Back to prograde. Yeah, there you go. ComSat it is. I'm just gonna leave that sucker alone. Alright. So, I'm apparently not in my right mind today. how things are going. So let's see. I'm gonna give myself one more chance. One more chance to redeem myself. Pulled it off fine when I thought it was going in the opposite direction. Don't know why it's suddenly a challenge going in the correct direction. I just struggling. So let's see. This needs to go down here. This needs to go on its own stage. Staging is important. Always check your staging. Again, boomerang. The other side of this is I feel like I missed my window at boomerang. It was very convenient when I launched the other Go. How much is that costing you per launch? This one should be roughly 18K, I think. I'll double check that in a second. I think it's about 18,000 credits. Not terribly expensive, I don't think. Sorry, we throw caution to the wind here at Dude, I Called You Bro space program. Now, that's what I thought. I was supposed to be heading around 2:30, and I just completely did the opposite thing. Because it should be retrograde here. So let's think for a second. That would be strictly north. See, that's the thing. I'm thinking of this in reverse. I should be thinking inverted. So vector engines at the bottom are not cheap comparatively. Very true. It is very true. I wanted those just so I could actually get our gravity turn started. But let's see. So I can use those vector engines to their effect down the roughly 230 degree mark. I didn't use those to their effect. I just did that derpily, as I've been doing everything today. Now we're stabilized. And we're hitting 45 degrees. 90 degrees, actually, from where we should be going. We are just not having a good day. So that means I should really be heading what? I'm just going to figure this out now. We should be heading at the 320? Is that moving us? No, we should be heading at the 100 degree line. Oh, lordy Lou. Even then I'm wrong. I think this night is just a good example of what not to do. I'm just gonna... At this point, I'm just gonna deorbit it. And just stop with the nonsense. That was around 2:30. Yeah, I thought I was heading up to 2:30. Well, the problem is, too, we missed our window. We're no longer under that orbit as well. So I will save that for a better time now at this point. Burn that off. At this point, I'm going to start having space junk. I've got a good amount of relays. Now, the only thing to do is ride this engine first. See if we can accomplish some kind of suicide burn. At the very least, we're burning a whole lot of time while our Sunsat gets out of Kerbin's sphere of influence and works its way out to desired orbit. So, let's see here. I don't have a whole ton of fuel. I don't think this is going to go particularly well here. And because of the ionized atmosphere, I have 0 radio control. So this is probably going to just be a destructive splashdown. Somehow it is not burned up, and we do have signal. I am going to let us get much, much closer. And decelerated before we attempt our last second suicide burn. Let's wait until 1,000 meters. A little more, actually. Oh, I thrust limited it? No, I didn't. It was a loss anyway. Anything to recover? Why is it telling me to recover? Forget it. Let's just see. If I get one part out of it, oh well. Uh-oh. A thinking symbol. Well. Did something wrong. Oh, a little more than I thought. About 21,000 credits for each of these failed launches. Which at least a few of these have given us satellites, albeit not the contracted satellite. Check the tracking station. Yeah, Boomerang is no longer anywhere near our window. We're almost up in the desert airfield being in our window. I'm just having trouble thinking straight for these high inclination launches. Thanks, Stu. Always supportive. Which have no answer at the moment. This orbit might be a pain in the butt. But with no launch really timed out well for this, I think I'm just going to go ahead and start prepping for us to have a Eve or Duna probe. So let's see. want the probe to be able to do is handle an atmospheric re-entry. So a heat shield's going to be vital for that. I do want to have a decent amount of power. Which I'm going to throw in these if this decides to not be a pain. Kind of don't like this one piece. It doesn't seem to ever want to do what I want it to do. Yeah, that kind of works. Whatever. It's like a good enough kind of scenario. I can then throw some solar panels on. Since I gotta think of this as being where I want it to land. So I'm going to set this up to solar panels facing upwards. So I might get some kind of sun. Landing leg set up. There we go. Perfect. They might catch a little bit of re-entry heating. That concerns me a little bit. I might have to just risk it. SAS module. Another battery, just to be sure. And we'll have a truss to go ahead and put the parachutes onto. So first a pair of drogues, then a pair of mains. So far. A pair of Mr. Grooves on. Right there. We will put a thermometer right here. Oops. Alright. That could potentially work as a re-entry probe. Now, you want to be able to separate it from a small fuel tank. We'll use the same we've been using for our satellites. Again, the Terrier, most efficient for that size. Moment. Alright, then we need a separator. What do I have for payload shrouds? 0.875 is my largest. Ooh, okay. That sort of messes with my plans. So part of this, I'm gonna need communitrons on our probe. better place for these. Mystery U canisters. Yeah, I guess that should do. It's kind of funky, but it should do. So I want to be able to reach then. I want the second stage to be here, a relay of sorts. Similar to the last craft, we'll put a AJ-10 bear as second stage. I do want some power. Some solar. Want some high gain antennas to act as a relay. So that second stage getting into orbit of the planet above should hopefully act as a sufficient relay to transmit to the ground. I will need a there we go, a fairing. Oops. Okay. That should be a good upper stage. And a good probe. I hope. Now, we need some kind of protection for this guy. Don't have very large fairing protection here. The thing I don't know is if these enable crossfeed. I'm gonna find out the hard way, I guess. Down here. And we need a separator. We need the much larger tanks. Here. It gives us Skipper is our best bet, it looks like. We're in 80 at sea level. Yeah. It's the first stage engine, pretty good. Liquid fuel engine, the Thud, 275 ASL is almost as good. Almost as good as sea level. Mind you, this is insanely more expensive, but it's providing much more thrust for the better efficiency, so makes sense. I can understand that. Now we need to build the ferry. There we go. Nice, pretty fairing. Protects all the solar panels and relays there during the launch. Oh, do we really unlock the kickback? That's just an absurd SRB. That is not the kind of thing we need right now. Let's put some solid rocket boosters. Parachutes on, just to some drogue chutes just to pull them away so they break away from the craft. Yep, that looks pretty good. We're gonna put 4 more on. This time I'm going to be a little smarter about the parachute placement so we don't have that same collision issue. Just do it a little more. More centered so it pulls them out and away. Very good, very good. Okay, so put some launch towers on and we'll work on the staging for this sucker. So first stage will be the 4 outer solid rocket boosters plus the main engine. Second stage will drop away those 4 engines, fire the other 2, deploy the 4 parachutes for those, so it pulls them away. Those need to go. Launch towers need to go on first stage. Then we'll have these separate and break those off. And we'll have the main separation there, which can coincide with the payload fairing breaking. We will separate these here, so the age of 10 will kick on. This can then break whenever I want it to. When the age of 10 spent, we split, use the Terrier. We then split again once we're in re-entry with that craft. I don't even need that to function, so we're just going to put the drogue chutes and then the main chutes. Perfect. All right. So we're going to be launching yeah, this would be a Duna launch. So this will be a Duna mission. probably poorly timed tuna mission. We're gonna go for it. Main engine at the bottom, plus the first 4 of the solids, getting our initial speed up. On exit trajectory. Hose ditch and the next 2 solids. It's like a very ugly Korolev cross there. Next 2 solids and the mains continue on. Keeping our thrust to mass ratio high enough to keep us going at this point. Now on the main engine alone, we're high enough up. Duna probe is looking like it has a chance. Very smooth launch so far. So we can kind of see the silhouette, at least, for this night launch. Duna inevitably is going to be a night launch for best efficiency, and Eve a day launch. Just a matter of whether you're going prograde or retrograde. This really should be like a morning or a evening kind of launch. But I have poor timing, so we're just going to go with it. Alright. There we go. I feel like that did what I wanted it to do there. Alright, so we're keeping the shroud with us. It's alright, we can still... the engine still sees the light of day. It's good enough for me. And again, now that we're in space, the AJ-10, super efficient. So work on the exit trajectory. Ditch the other fairing. The fairing doesn't really matter. Well, there's crossfeed enabled, that's good. As far as fuel goes, at least I know that works. Okay, exit. So we are on a exit trajectory at this point. Don't know why this fairing is still sticking on. It's quite interesting. Means I won't be able to deploy the antenna I intended to deploy. Could get interesting very quickly. So I don't know how to bypass that. Okay, it's just gonna poke out through the fairing. Okay, whatever. Solar panels will now be an issue. I imagine. I don't know if the game considers that shroud is really there or not. So we'll find out if we lose contact with the with the craft. Oh boy. Not my most brilliant of nights, guys. Our satellite network looks like an abomination, though. A happy, communication-filled abomination. Lots of comms going on. The sunset's going off and doing its own thing. I would really like to know if those solar panels are going to work or not, or what on earth is going on with this this payload shroud. Blocked by Kerbin. Okay, sure. Blocked by Kerbin. And I want to know if you're blocked by the shroud or not. Because that would be useful data. It would be useful information to have. Like, I would like to say that I was ready to go ahead and launch a an Eve rocket as well, but this is not not reassuring at all. Oh, didn't want to fly the... Didn't want to fly the launch tower. I appreciate your effort, little game. Barbary. Interesting. So many. Why are there so many Kerman rescues? Position orbiter 3.5. That is not a positionable relay. I appreciate your effort. There's still that... Oh, Colnea sat. Inclination 63.4 degrees. This is another one of those I managed to execute it perfectly but in the wrong direction kind of moments. How are we looking on launch sites versus target orbit? Not good. For sure, our original launch window was much better. Desert Airfield is kind of close for a second attempt. This to a projected position on the nav ball, though it doesn't work in my brain. This orbit versus nav ball, because really you'd be looking at the nav ball from the perspective of the rocket right here if you're going by this site. So you'd be looking at coming down on the. Yeah, see, that's why I'm thinking even the 230, I think, is what I tried the first time and went the opposite direction. And what I really need is to go this away, possibly? Unless I'm doing that in reverse again. Which way did I send my satellite the last time? Yeah, last time. Pardon me. I sent it that way. So what I really need is to send it down this way. I think I'm stuck for one night. I think today might end somewhat uneventfully. Let's get some crew trained up. If I'm gonna do nothing else, let's take a jet out. We know how reliable our jets are. Take our Kier jet. By unreliable, I mean or as reliable, I mean unreliable. So we'll take Newstead out. He's gonna take Dunson with him. And for good luck, he'll take Bob. No real mission. We're just gonna take off, fly around for a little bit, and probably parachute land, because this thing just explodes every time I try to actually land on a runway, even with an upgraded runway. But it's okay. Just hope no one dies. Staging check. I just want to get a little bit of crew experience in our last 15 minutes of stream. So my general rule, if the halfway point we can take off, okay, yep, we're good. Then we'll go with the flight. Otherwise, we would do a parachute abort halfway through. But this looks good. Beautiful. Get some experience with these newbies. Hey, Bob. Got really terrible views in here, Bob. And all this just to get pilot experience. All these crewmen are getting fancy, being cramped up while I'm fire off probes. Ooh, okay. A bit more aggressive than I intended. Turning up, turn coming up, backwards. Line ourselves back up with the runway. The question is, do we go for the landing or do we do the parachute abort? You got 3 crewmen on the line. First, we lose a little bit of altitude. Gain a decent amount of speed. Start to glider our way in. I think the last time we failed just because of how fast we hit the runway. Quite possible. A little bit of engine power. We're starting to stall out just a little bit. Just want to make sure we don't stall. So with 1/3 throttle, just a little more. We've flown many jets. We've never landed a jet in our space program. Landings have always gone parachute or explosion. One of those two. So will I redeem myself tonight and at least have something of use happen in our stream and land a jet? Remains to be seen. Again, killing our engine. Got just enough coast on this. Problem I find is like just little tiny manipulations are sending weird oscillations. I need to change the roll and pitch authority on some of these control surfaces. They're coming in nice and slow now. This might actually be a reasonable landing. I might actually not rely on the parachutes for once. Well, that's way too steep. Okay. Oh, we can make this. No, we can't. Perfect! Everything went splendidly. Exactly as intended. Isn't that how you guys land jets? So let's see, that should have at least gotten us some crew experience. Yep, we got 1 XP for Newstead and 1 XP for Dunson. Alright. We did something productive today. Other than launching satellites, that'll take 165 days to show what their actual usefulness is. Well, this has been a somewhat dreadful day for actual contracts. Minutes left. Let me see. Can I do like a can I do a test and get rid of this test TD25 decoupler? Between 42,000 and 48,000 meters. Speed 50 to... Okay, yeah, you can go pretty darn fast there. I don't see why not. Entertain me or the pig gets it. That might be some bacon. If the pig gets it, do I get bacon? That's my first question. Because then the answer is always going to be bacon. So let's see. Let's do a let's do a new craft to test out this decoupler. It's going to be an ugly craft. We get bacon. Okay, yeah. You might fail to be entertained, good sir. Anything for bacon. Let's see. Does that look silly enough? No, it does not. Alright. Will this stream ever switch to a booby stream? I do maybe have large enough man boobs for this. I might have moobs. I'm not going to rule it out at this time. Let's see. TD25. That looks silly. It's just fine. We like silly. Just need this to accomplish one simple mission. And I'm just going to do this in the cheapest way I could possibly think to do it, which is a giant SRB. What will the destination be? Destination, I'm just going to get this up to altitude and give this decoupler a test to close out one contract before this darn stream is over. We've had some very successful contract completion streams thus far. This is not one of them, unfortunately. Partly by design, I did launch some long-term launch vessels that are going out towards interplanetary space. So this will take a while to get us any kind of return. However, for some reason, I can't brain long enough to manage a very strange satellite orbit. So I'm going to go for this contract instead. So all I need is get our speed up to the right range between 42,000 and 48,000 meters. And this will be a total throwaway. Oh boy. Bad rocket. Bad rocket. Bad rocket. Okay. Control cert. I mean, granted, this was an insanely cheap way to do this. And a very entertaining way to do this. This thing is just doing all kinds of craziness, isn't it? Alright. Well, we're going to relaunch this with some controllable surfaces, I think. But first I want to watch this explode. This is just watch a proper explosion. Our Boomerang launch site down there below. Thankfully, we have an absurd number of funds from the last couple of very successful contracts. So this isn't all too bad. I could have put parachutes on this as well, actually. In anticipation of rescuing the craft, I probably could have put parachutes on. But, it's not the way I do things. Just not the way I do things. Yes. Yes, okay. So then, back to vehicle assembly. We don't have the revert option, so we did just spend the money on that sucker. Let's see. Lessons learned. Let's go ahead. Let's put a controllable winglet on there. This guy will do. I like that one. And we'll put some parachutes on, because why not? I'll pretend like I give a flying hoop about this this rocket. When I don't. When I just frankly don't. Boomerang again, because if it's going to do some tragedy, I hope it will be at Boomerang, where it doesn't have the opportunity to blow up some very expensive buildings. Boomerang is my my bad idea launch pad. Kerbal can't handle my stupidity today. Really? Okay. Alright. Just a game crash, and then off we go. Normal day in Kerbal Space Program. Now this time, hopefully enough control surface, we can keep this straight, which is the probe core. And get us up to altitude to test the parachute, or the separator, and then launch the parachutes. Yep, seems to be going much better. Adding fins, we can get some overheat here. Hopefully it doesn't blow up the probe core. That would be bad. That'd be a good way. Looks like, yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. Huh. Alright, one more thing to make this work. This is getting repetitive. There you go. There you go. Waste of funds? Perhaps. Fun? Meh. Kerbal can't handle my stupidity today. There we are. Alright, hopefully this time we're going straight and we are avoiding lighting this thing on fire in the process. Again, target altitude, at least if we get to 42,000 meters and stay under 1,440 meters per second, we will be good to test this decoupler, so I can at least complete one contract today and call it a day. There we go. I see no overheating bars there. Well, now I do. You're almost out of the atmosphere. Just hang in there. There you go. Our speed's too high, so we need to slow down. So hopefully on the return, we'll pull this off. Your best friend! Hello! My good man. Well, this stream, we're actually just about to wrap up this stream. I know, bestie. It's the best. Just having him there. Yeah, this has not been a very successful night. This has been the probably the least successful so far, aside from maybe the first day, when I was trying to figure out why stay-put-nick cores would not stay straight. Didn't realize in creative they have SAS and they don't in career mode. Probably the most drunk night. Probably. I will admit to that. I went straight to the Shine Nog as soon as I got home. But I did launch a pair of probes today that should be going out quite a ways. One is a solar, and one is a Duna probe. Hopefully those make it to their destinations. They'll just be a long ways away. Oh, this thing got way up there for a single solid rocket booster. If I had slowed this down a little bit, I think, to complete this mission. But yes, bestie, all our last streams are all on YouTube already. Unlike last season's 2 seasons, this new career mode, I've been posting everything on YouTube as soon as I'm complete the stream. No more holding back all that glorious stream time. Now, again, I'm going to be going too fast, I think. Every time I get a notification you're streaming away from home and I can't watch. Well, I decided I was going to do 7 o'clock every day. Yeah, we already lost our altitude. Fuck. This thing's a piece of trash. It's a very aggressively re-entering piece of trash. Alright. Screw it. Fire the decoupler. Right on the nose cone. We don't need it. Parachutes. Let me recover one of these darn things. Now, if I actually took the time and did my simulation calculator, I would have been able to know that I was going to get going too fast by the time I got to the altitude I wanted. But once this touches down, I'm going to just try relaunching, turning down the thrust limiter. What planets, moons have I gotten to so far? Actually, I've only done orbital missions. I've only done satellites and the like. So I'm still prepping for a moon mission at this time. Not yet completed one. Oh, don't tip. Don't do that. Don't be a jerk. Don't do that. Okay, well, at least you did it gently. That was interesting. I got one rocket recovered. Try this one more time. I need to have at least one contract tonight get completed. The satellite mission I tried was a disaster. I got the perfect orbit in the wrong direction. So let's see. Thrust limiter. 70? Guesstimation. Yeah, I get it. I get going to Minmus first. All the missions that I've been accumulating, though, from contracts have all been for Mun. So I'm going to have to go for Mun first. And get my contracts cleared out. Don't mind this. It's going to crash again. This has been crashing every time I launch from Boomerang for some reason. Oh, no. Maybe it's going to load. Oh, alright. Just to prove me wrong. Whoop. There we go. Alright, so once more. All I need to do is be within that speed range at that altitude, and I can test this decoupler, and we can call this a complete mission. And I can say I closed at least one contract today. I had the perfect launch window for this Colnea orbit too, and I used it to fire a rocket the wrong direction. I am displeased with that situation. Some more parabolic launch profile so you don't render so harshly. Oh, no. Nothing genius going on here. Simply a way to test. Now I'm going too fast. Damn. My goal was just to have a vehicle to test this decoupler at the correct altitude and the correct speed as cheaply as possible. Which apparently that was not tone. I'm gonna have to go even further down. Yeah, Stewie, seriously, Andy's got you beat there. He was much quicker to acknowledge Bestie's greatness. One day I'll stray along from Sandbox long enough to play a career again. Yeah, I haven't really... This was the first time I've been playing career since they added even funds into the game. I was playing career mode back when it was really just what is now science mode, about 4 years ago. And this is a full-on return from that. Alright, we're about to start falling back to Kerbin again. Sue's got the right priorities in mind there. This is going to be a very dramatic re-entry. By that I mean things are probably going to... Whoops. Oh yeah, we're going too fast for this. This is a very dramatic re-entry here. Let's see. See in real-time speed how this goes. Yep. Way too fast. We're about to have the separator blow up. Yep, separator's blown up. Still have control. Perfect. Lead off some speed. Hoist some parachutes. By that, Stewie means he moved in with me. He is the woman, obviously, of the roommate relationship. I have all the rockets. So I think, in light of this being a very poor stream overall tonight, I think this is going to go on YouTube tonight as the return of Bestie. I think that can be the only thing we name this. Alright, so, thrust limiter, even further down. The game's struggling to handle my stupidity. Alright, let's see. 40%, let's try that. The bestie stream ever. Do we do... Alright, Bestie, it's up to you. Do we do the bestie stream ever, or do we do the return of Bestie? One of those two will be on the stream, or will be on YouTube in the morning. One of those two. Oh, and I did this from... screw it. Try this. From this site. Look at it go! This is terrifying. Totally terrifying. It's flying straight at least. Oh, no, no, it's not flying straight. Okay. We're just gonna, like, hit the Space Center, or are we gonna arc over it? Alright, we're at least gonna arc over the Space Center. And then smash into the ground. One of our new viewers would appreciate me yelling, "Punch it, Chewie!" Alright. Well, Andy, I wouldn't say it's a contract failure. We didn't fail any contracts today. But I can come up with something else. No contracts have yet failed. I'm still quite upset. I had that Mjolnir, or Kolnir for Kerbal, orbit exact, heading in the wrong direction. It didn't really specify that it's a retrograde orbit as opposed to a prograde orbit. And I think that's not fair. I feel like it should specify that more clearly. Now, if I could just, please, for the love of God, complete this one mission. Just so I can say I've done something today. Because I am not going to attempt that orbit again today. I'm too frustrated. And everything else is a very long-term thing. It's looking more promising, but still seems like I'm accelerating too quickly. And there's no way to cut solid rocket boosters. Wish I could just coast the rest of the way. Probably could try this with a liquid fueled rocket. And just stop being crazy about this. Yeah, this one's just gonna barely accelerate too much. Damn! I tried to get it right at the right altitude to the right speed, and it just didn't quite get it. Well, let's at least try to recover the darn thing. I could just try a shorter booster, I think, and that would probably do the trick as well. spin stabilize. There we go. For science. Totally scientific. Spinning is better. Some parts are gonna explode. Namely the whole thing. Alright. I'm wasting a lot of funds on this. It's one mission. Still have 1 million funds, so I guess I shouldn't be too worried. Let's just try it with a shorter rocket. Much cheaper as well. Alright. Launch from Boomerang. Alright, off we go. Just want to get this one contract. Sorry, Apogee. Not high enough. Alright. That's annoying. So let's recover that booster. I hope. Yep, there we go. Recover that booster. Okay. So I need the larger booster and I need less fuel in it, basically. That is a very hard... I don't know why I took that mission. I am pretty much landing this on the water tower, though. That's pretty interesting. This might end in a rocket tipping. Let's land on the water tower. There's an achieve for you. Wow, that is close. Okay, just gently tip. There you go. Yeah, I was referring. I did get a proper delta V calculator, which I've been using for the more serious launches, the launches that I actually am thinking for. Just do a quick little pop out. So basically, what I started doing is figuring out what I would need to do to calculate out delta V. And then have a delta V map that will tell me what I need to do to accomplish it. And then I started working on simulations. So if I do fill out one of these, say, if I want to just do one of the satellite buses by itself, we could do, well, it'd be 1 ton, 90 units, 1.5, we could do 60 thrust. It would give us an idea in simulation, which I did that in the completely wrong place because that's the satellite bus. Bingo. I could see now mass second by second as it depletes over the course of fuel expenditure, acceleration as it increases due to the decreased weight and the constant thrust, our velocity, distance, gravity loss, which is really rough. I need to figure out how to get that exact. And then horizontal and vertical velocity based on our angle of trajectory, giving us a projected altitude, angle of velocity, and projected apogee on our launch. And it figures out all automatically the end point based on how many seconds here. So if I wanted to go ahead and say this would then have 180 units of fuel instead, you'd see that I would continue further down and auto calculate. So yeah, I've started doing a lot of stuff there. I put in sections too, so I can up top, so I can go from the previous stage and input data up there as well, and get us very accurate predictions of what we're going to accomplish with the rocket. Throwing all of that to the wind, however, I, for whatever reason today, just don't feel like any of that. In classic Steve form. So this time, one more time, thrust limiter at 55, less fuel this time. I just want this one launch to go and get this one contract complete. This is taking me more effort than it took to save Nedbu, which was a very tragic, long mission. Oh, I didn't put parachutes back in this thing. This is just gonna get exploded. I'll live with it. I'll live with it. If it gets the contract, I'm a happy man. So this time it's got less thrust. It should run out of fuel before it gets going too fast. When it reaches the desired altitude at the desired speed, I can deploy the decoupler and call it a day. And tomorrow I can try and brain and do the Colnea orbit that was throwing me for quite the loop earlier. This is looking much better. Yes. Run out of fuel. Run out of fuel. Run out of fuel, please. Don't accelerate anymore. Oh, yes. Okay. There we go. Now it's decelerating. Getting nearer to the altitude that we have as a target. All conditions met. Thank you. Contract done. Hallelujah. This thing's going to now blow up. Because I forgot to put parachutes on it. But I don't care. Because we cleared a contract. I have no idea how much money we even got for that contract. Probably nowhere near what we just spent. But I don't mind. With Bestie here, I almost feel like... Oh, is it lightning orbit around Kerbin? That's the lightning orbit around Kerbin. There's the one that I need to try and do. And I matched it up perfectly earlier. Perfectly earlier I had it. I just was going prograde instead of retrograde. I did not realize that for some reason, just like Nedbu's orbit, the game decided that it would do that in retrograde. Super fun. Oh, hello, another repeat watcher from Finland, if I remember correctly, because I only have 4 viewers to remember. Bestie, you are making me feel a little bit better. If I can set myself to at least accomplishing what Bestie accomplishes, then I'm having a good day. And this thing is aerodynamically just steering itself for the KSC, and that is somewhat concerning. However, it does seem to want to impact the ground. Yes, that is very frustrating. It was really annoying earlier. But since we've got new arrivals, I will extend the stream slightly now that I've cleared out a mission slot with this nice little dummy test. We will do one last rescue mission to fill my crew roster. If I can just pick up a low orbit rescue mission, I will do it, and that will be our encore. Yes, Bestie, exactly, our encore. Bestie knew I was going to be looking for that. Why is this one showing exceptional? Okay, this scares me. Rescue Sidrai Kerman, who is stranded in low Kerbin orbit. And for some reason, it's offering us funds. That's scary. That means that this is going to be a pain in the butt, right? It's going to be a pain in the butt. Just don't tell me. It says low Kerbin orbit. Where is the SOB? Let's get rid of satellites. Ships. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, he's just in a regular orbit. For some reason, the game thinks that's a challenge. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank the Lord. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to... Yes, the rescue contracts do add the Kerbal to your roster. Many of my current Kerbals are from rescue missions. In fact, I have a Space Uber design ready to roll for exactly this mission. So let's... I don't think I saved the updated version, though. Oh, pardon me. So let's see. We'll just go ahead and we'll update it again. So we'll pull the old booster version off. We will go to subassembly for the new booster version here. Oh, that's the Mark II. We want the Type 1. Get rid of this. That's for satellite launches. Get rid of this because that's for satellite launches. Yes, I'm very protective of my starting Kerbals as well, although I did kill Valentina right away by unfortunate circumstance. Happenstance. However you want to say that. Hey, white, go. Make sure there's no Kerbals along for the ride. Get out of there, Jeb. Alright, now. Boosters. And tower. That lofts our main engine up. We'll fire at booster separation. Then we have the... Whoop. Yep, okay. Separation. Then that separation. Then the drogue, and then the parachute. Okay. I think we need to go back to adjusting Kerbal names. I promised myself this would be all stock. Dear most loyal stream watchers. Oh man, I would kill so many of our poor loyal watchers. Do you happen to have the Making a History expansion? I do. I do actually have the Making a History expansion. Alright. Now, the one thing to check. Is this Kerman in retrograde orbit? Because this is how things are going. Nope, he is in a prograde orbit. I don't know why this thinks this is that challenging. So I'm just going to time warp on the pad here until he is right above us. Right there. And then we're going to do our launch. Burn, baby, burn. So waiting to fire that swivel engine till we're higher up in the atmosphere, where it is more efficient. Got us the rest of the way to that point. We are kind of doing like a little bit of a weird back turn there. Boosters going off themselves. We start our gravity turn. All this is normal. This is all going according to plan thus far. I want to keep my orbit below my target since I am behind my target. I want to be able to catch up with him. So I will reignite the engine once we get to our apogee. KSP has come since the old days when it was just the Mun and it had all those really hideous yellow and black rocket boosters. Yes, it's definitely come a long way. I was just saying I really like the new paint schemes. I feel like I get a little over obsessed with making the paint schemes look good, but darn, do they look so much better. Yeah, I let my target get way ahead of us. I kind of planned that wrong, didn't I? Alright. Let's see. Let's get like as close to apogee as I feel comfortable. Maybe 15 seconds? 10 seconds maybe? Let's make it 15 seconds. Because I didn't bother to do a proper calculation. Okay. Stage. Fire. I want to keep my orbit smaller than that of the target. Good. Perfect. Now this is a really tight orbit, so to save on fuel, I'm just going to go ahead and just let time elapse and let us just naturally catch up on our own. Now I am going to quickly stall this so I can go ahead and aim our solar panel towards the sun, our single solar panel, because for some godforsaken reason I refuse to correct the engineering problem of having a single solar panel on our orbiter. Hey, Owen is back. Just started career mode yesterday, and it's fun. I do find this really fun, actually. I thought I was going to hate having to worry about funds, and then, nope, I actually really like it. It makes me much more invested in what's actually happening. Especially since I disabled revert. So I'm just going to see how our natural progression of intersects goes. Kill that. There you go. Kill that maneuver so it actually shows. So on this tighter orbit, naturally you do catch up. The tighter the orbit, the faster your orbit around the planet goes, so you're able to catch up much more easily. If I was instead ahead of him, I would want a higher orbit, so I'd slow down and he'd catch up to me. Let me see on this one. I don't know how you feel about them making it so you have to have a connection to KSP from any side of Kerbin. Kind of like having the geosynchronous ComSat network. See, we did actually talk about that on stream the other night, and I do plan to disable it. I just forgot to do that, actually. At this point, I have such a ridiculous satellite network, I don't think it matters. But that was one of those, I didn't really know how that worked until I went and tried to do it, starting this career mode. So that is still an option you can disable. I do know that. It's like something along the lines of enable additional tracking stations. Something like that. One more orbit, and I'm going to start looking for a maneuver node to get us in help, bestie. I agree. I do actually. We were talking about that on stream the other night. I think it's much more interesting to have to rely on the geosynchronous network. The other thing, I think there's an option to reduce the range of the tracking station as well. So you have to put relays to amplify the signal as well. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know how far I would have to really do that, though. .7 intersect, is that good enough for me? 2.5 intersect, is that good enough for me? The question is, wait, real quick, does that put me into an atmospheric It's bad. Being in the atmosphere is bad when you're trying to do orbit. So, let's see. See if I can come up with a better way to do this. So we want to bring these together, right? 2.4. Brings my perigee too low. So let's see, can I... Other way? Nope. Nope. Even worse. Wow, I made this difficult to try and do a maneuver. Let's do this. Add a little bit of prograde. No, we want it lined up with our target. So a little bit of prograde right. Oop. Right there. Yeah, neither of those maneuvers seems like a good idea. So let's make one more pass. Let's see what happens. We're already getting like really close here. What if I just on the opposite side of that? That's the problem with these tight orbits. Alright, let's just go to his perigee. Let's just do this. Go to his perigee. Add a little prograde maneuver to bring his orbit more in line with ours, so we slow our approach to him. So that way we'll have a tighter maneuver each orbit. Make this even more of a pain in the butt for myself. Oop, too much. Slight correction in the opposite direction. Bingo. Alright, now we should catch up to him more slowly. So hopefully we'll just naturally have a closer intersect that I can actually manipulate here. Yep, we're getting there. Yes, so we're approaching him now, less drastic speed. So we'll be able to pick a very precise intersection to do our retrograde to target maneuver without having to do any major adjustments beyond that. 94, 73. So we're getting there. 84. And 63. One mod I wish was stock is the one that recovers ejected boosters and stages and gives you the funds for them if there is enough parachutes to slow them down. I agree with that completely. I was trying to figure out ways to like trick the game into remembering that those are there, like putting probe cores on them and everything else, but it still, for whatever reason, it despawns them and figures, oh, you didn't really mean to keep this, did you? The one that I would have liked, science. Days ago? 2 days ago, we were focusing on doing diver missions. Which, you know, returns 0 science. Because there's no science under the sea. Under the sea. From that point on, I've wanted to call every marine biologist on Earth and tell them their life is a farce, because there's no science under the sea. Excuse me, Professor. Professor, are you aware that in the subject you're teaching, marine biology, that there is no science in the ocean? Didn't you know? Yes, very gradually growing closer to intersect here. I could have really just not been that precise about that burn and just gotten a much faster intersect. But this is already going to put us in a position to be very close by the time I decide to do my maneuver. I do have to watch this electric charge, though that does annoy me. Definitely taking the slow yet lazy way right now. Hold on, we're just gonna... Why is this not getting sunlight? Oh. Because I derped. Here you go. Get some sunlight. Sip juice from the life-giving sun. It's better. Anywho. This is much more reminiscent of my Bro Lab launches. But these tight orbits make it very hard to try and do maneuvers without overspending your delta V and going into a higher orbit and allowing your target to catch up to you. There we go. 2.5 to that point, and do our retrograde to target maneuver. Unless this one comes out closer. Let's just see what happens. If I remove this node. No, 10.4. So let's just warp to that point. 2.5 is ideal. I don't think we're going to get any closer than that. So when we reach target point, I'm going to go retrograde to target. Never time I launch is right to run it with something in low. Yeah, it's hard when it's low orbit. I have an easier time when it's 120,000 meters and above. Which is actually, that's where I put Brill Lab. I put it at 120,000 meters. So it was much easier to send payloads up there. There was one or two I think I managed to launch that only made it, you know, less than 2 orbits before getting to the intended target. Okay, so we've now made our retrograde to target burns. Let's quickly find target and burn towards target. Should be right here. And I want about 20 meters a second of... Let's see what that gives me for an intersect now. 0.3. So we'll come in within 0.3 meters with that burn I just did. Well within burn retrograde to target. Just gonna keep an eye out for this stranded craft. Should be right there. Right there. Closer way to this. Just gonna add a node there. At that point, I'm gonna cancel our movement to target whether I see it or not. Just to make sure I can do some more fine-tuned maneuvers. Yes, I was thinking that too. I was trying to figure out how I could see the outline. I've been trying to figure that out for the last couple of missions. At this point, I don't mind. I've gotten too used to this. Now we should be able to actually see the target. Off this way. There he is. There he is. So we got a little bit of distance to close with him. I don't have any kind of RCS thruster, so this is all gonna have to be off, you know, main engine power. Pretty good for her. There we are. F4? It is F4. God bless you, bestie. That's it, I'm kicking Stu out, bestie. Watch. Yes, it definitely will make things easier for next time. And my now infamous line for this series: Sir, your Uber has arrived. Ever gotten so drunk in space you had to call a space Uber? Oop. That's a nope right there. It's just... Even this very sensitive engine, this very light engine, does not want to let me precisely do what I want without a serious amount of thrust limiting. Here we are. Alright. And you're a pilot. I was hoping for a scientist. That's alright. I'll still take you, buddy. I'll still rescue you. Alright, now... I really want to unset this as target, but it doesn't really let me, does it? Let's get as close as we possibly can to KSC, and then we'll do